What's going on, guys? Kai here. Today we're doing the PvP and PvE tier list for the classes at the end of January 2025. Let's get into it. Alright guys, there's been some changes for the classes. You may not think so because there were no fairies really added during January, but we had some changes with how HP works, as well as players are just generally getting better. So things are being found out, things like this. So in the PvP tier list, we still have Priest at the top. It's still the best, quote unquote, because of how Star Blessing works, as well as how the passive works. It could play ranged or melee, but we're starting with how pets work. I can imagine a world where the next set of pets get added that make different classes better as an all-arounder than Priest, as well as later on in the year we should be having a new class. So Priest's Reign is still powerful, but you can see some flaws in the armor. Wind Chaser. There's been some argumentation about Archer as a whole. Both aren't very good in PvP, primarily down here with Marksman, but Wind Chaser is doing super well. Lots of cooldown. It innately has high tenacity and such. It's one of the two that have innate get out of jail free cards. Strength of Nature also gives you that movement speed, makes it hard for people to catch you. Just very, very strong, and then really low cooldown with their CC. Then we have Blazing Owl. I get the names mixed up. Perfect Blade. Blazing Owl. Blazing Owl is very, very strong. A good player can actually walk in a circle and dodge almost every skill from a Blazing Owl player, besides the third skill, the knife throw. But if played knowing that, so throwing skills with something like Priest, or using fairies or something to set up skills, its damage output is insane. It's we call it it's effectively an ultimate because the other three skills have two versions. You get to use them more often, but omnidirectional Slayer, omnidimensional Slayer would be something that Yami uses from Black Clover, but omnidirectional Slayer, allowing you to dodge skills coming in at you or fairy skills, is very, very powerful and does big damage. Especially being able to take advantage of the chi function over and over to have a constant 20% damage increase. Gladiator got knocked down a little bit with the change of HP. It's still strong. It still has two of the best skills in the game, but just a little bit worse. A good player can make it S tier, but on averages it's a little bit less now. Dragon Fighter is very powerful. It has the second get out of jail free card. It has several stuns. It has pierce rate. It has a lot of powerful things. It's on the verge, honestly, of being S tier itself. The only thing is, the Dragon Roar secondary skill is just a dash. Dashes are good, but most dashes you want to do a little something extra. If the dash slowed people where you landed, if the dash taunted people, if the dash healed you or something, then this would be easy S tier. Marksman, its biggest issue right now is that you're stuck in place doing... You can do your big skill from super far away, but you're stuck in place doing it. Meaning people can just jump you, they can CC you. You can do something like using Priest to give yourself no knock up, no knockback, and then go into it, which will also give you more attack, more crit, but it's still a little rough. But the straight damage output, if you have a good teammate with you to protect you, it can literally just kill people. Dragon Knight, very, very strong. Its one-shot potential is there. If you have the proper stats, the one-shot build does work, but you need to land everything, and that becomes the issue. It does have the third skill, which is a very good jump ability. You can use it as a engage or a get LGL free card. It has the anti-heal, which is very powerful. You just have to charge up the spear drop. People put in some cheeky, just 1 millisecond charge, immediately drop it, just to do good damage. But if you're having to do that, you may as well be Dragon Fighter. Then we have Shadow Owl, Kurogakure, very, very strong. Its problem is it doesn't really bring any CC to the table. It's just, I'm going to go burr. Which you can say the same thing for Marksman, but Marksman can do everything from a range, and Shadow Owl has to go melee for most of its stuff. Down here, we have Judge and Armor. Both kind of run into the same issue. They both have high damage. They both bring a lot to the team. Judge has a knock-up as well as can shred, block, and tenacity. As well as just monstrous damage, slows everything, and Armor has a long range slow, shield, cannot be knock up knockback, has skill interruption, has a lot of things in the kit, anti-heal, movement speed buff, but its main issue is just with how the skills are laid out. A lot of its damage is in Netherfire, which is a cone skill that most players will either walk side, side, back, or through you to get out of. So both of them have high damage, have a lot of things they bring to the table, but their skills are easy to dodge. If a Judge hits you with a double EM chain strike, that's over half your HP. If a Armor hits you with a full Netherfire, you're probably dead. But hitting them is the tough part. Then in the D tier right here are... It's upsetting because Berserker skills are... The wording and how they work is made for PvP. It just... If you are securing the last hits, it is bonkers. It is above Priest. Because it has auto resets on everything. Auto reset, auto reset, auto reset. Really, really powerful. But this is just for cleaning up kills. That's all it really does at this point. Wind and Earth are good echoes for it to do a bit better. You can bring it up to C, maybe B tier on a good player. But you may as well just be playing a different class. Mech, biggest issue is almost every class has tons of AoE, and your bots get destroyed with all the AoE. Down here for PvE, we have Priest giving you the attack buff and the crit buff, allowing you to crit at high levels, Path of Fire Sword, or Elemental Realm, or Elemental Lord numbers. And Armor just flat out doing the most PvE damage. As I said, with Netherfire, it just does a bajillion damage, especially if you set it up before the fight starts. You can start with a full Netherfire, fully preparationed with the bonus damage. Really a three-way tie here, with a bit of an edge to a good Marksman. All three on auto will do roughly the same damage, but if the Marksman player is using Shattered Arrow, the auto attack reset, between skills on manual, then it will edge out the other two, but it'll still be behind Armor. Then we have Dragon Knight, which will just do a lot of damage up front. It's actually a pretty good class for a rotation if you want to change weapons while in battle. I've done a video on that where you can do 3 to 4 weapons in a rotation. Generally 3, while also doing your 3 fairy team rotations to get the optimal damage. And then Blazing Owl does high damage. The problem being 2 of the skills require just make you go move around, which wastes time between other skills. So your damage per second drops off a little bit, but you get to keep a 20% damage buff while abusing the chi mechanic. Down here, it's tough. Judge ekes out the other 2 just because of how EM Chain Strike does more damage if you have higher break than the target's block, and you also have Cold Fire Bird, which reduces their block by a considerable amount. You can also set it up with another class that reduces block, like a sword class, allowing which you obviously won't. You'll be doing something else. But that's just an option if you want double EM Chain Strike to do a whole lot more damage. Gladiator ekes out Wind Chaser, even on a good player, just based off of it has Soul Blast, which reduces block and defense, which allows all your other skills to do more damage. You bring that, you bring Punitive Chop, which just does monstrous damage, and then you actually bring 2 of your lower cooldown skills. You have not Uppercut, not the heal one. You bring Cross Chop and the other cross one. You have one that's an X and one that's a plus. They both have really low cooldowns, and you get to use them over and over, which does a lot of damage. Then we have Marksman, which can do damage, especially with a 3rd skill, 2nd skill that makes it rain for longer. That does pour some damage, but you're kind of waiting between those skills. You end up using like 2 of the Marksman abilities, which at that point use Marksman. Berserker can do fine on like the Wind Echo, the Wind Elemental Realm, because you do get 50% reset on monsters. But besides that, just don't use it. And actually, Mechanic does decent damage and can give you, if you have trouble dying in PvE, you can just set it and let it tank hits for you. But that ends up being mostly what you use it for. You can use the circle skill, the 3rd right side skill, that'll increase your defense and turn all damage into healing for you. But at that point, you want to be using a different class. Let me know what you guys think down below, if I'm right, if I'm wrong. Till next time, guys.